affected Philippines. Starting this broadcast with Typhoon Rai in Philippines, where the death toll from the powerful typhoon has now topped 200.
Officials told me today that managing a typhoon in the middle of a pandemic is a nightmare.
Ever wondered how tropical cyclones are formed? But first, what really is a tropical cyclone? Also known as typhoons or hurricanes, tropical cyclones are rapid circular storms originating over warm tropical and subtropical waters where it develops its energy. Tropical cyclones' maximum sustained wind speed can range from less than 63 kilometers per hour to over 119 kilometers per hour, and its diameter ranges from 200 kilometers to a maximum of 1,000 kilometers. Moving forward, these are formed through thunderstorms, developing over warm ocean waters leading to low-pressure areas, wherein moist air rises over the ocean near the land. As it continuously circulates, the larger the cyclone becomes and its speed of circulation rises as well, resulting in stronger cyclones. Speaking of the speed and size of cyclones, this leads us to the different typhoon signals. According to the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or also known as PAG-ASA, the public storm warning system in the country has 5 warning signals, which are the following. Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal Number 1. This serves as the initial warning for the public in preparation for the developing storm or tropical cyclone in the country. There may be no damage to very light damage. Criteria for this signal are as follows. Wind speed 30 to 60 kilometers per hour may be expected in at least 36 hours. Wave height 1.25 to 4 meters. Damage to structure very light to no damage to high-risk structures. Light to medium damage for low-risk structures. Slight damage to some houses of very light materials or makeshift structures in exposed areas. Precautionary measures. Disaster preparedness units are activated to alert status. People are advised to listen to the latest severe weather bulletin by PAG-ASA every 6 hours. Coastal waters are gradually developing and swelling. Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal Number 2. This serves as the secondary warning for the public for the progressing storm surge or tropical cyclone in the country. There may be light to moderate damage. The criteria for this signal are as follows. Wind speed 61 to 120 kilometers per hour may be expected in at least 24 hours. Wavelength 4.1 to 14 meters. Damage to structure light to moderate damage for high-risk structures. Very light to light damage for medium-risk structures. No damage to very light damage for low-risk structures. Precautionary measures. Public is being warned and cautioned from traveling by sea and air. The tropical cyclone is moving towards the area. Special attention is given to the latest position, movement, direction, and intensity of the storm. Disaster response preparedness groups are in action to alert communities. Classes from the preschool to high school departments are suspended. Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal Number 3. This serves as the third warning for the public for the ongoing storm surge or tropical cyclone in the country. There may be moderate to heavy damage. The criteria for this signal are as follows. Wind speed 121 to 170 kilometers per hour may be expected in at least 18 hours. Wavelength greater than 14 meters. Damage to structure. Heavy damage for low-risk structures. Moderate damage for medium-risk structures. Light damage for high-risk structures. Precautionary measures. Weather condition is dangerous to the communities affected. Sea and coastal waters are dangerous for all sea crafts. People are advised to seek shelter and evacuate. Appropriate response from disaster preparedness and response agencies are done. Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal Number 4. This serves as the fourth warning for the public for the ongoing strong storm surge or tropical cyclone in the country. There may be heavy to very heavy damage. The criteria for this signal are as follows. Wind speed 171 to 220 kilometers per hour may be expected in at least 14 hours. Wave height greater than 14 meters. Damage to structure. Very heavy damage for low-risk structures. Heavy damage for medium-risk structures. Moderate damage for high-risk structures. Precautionary measures. Weather condition is dangerous to the communities affected. Sea and coastal waters are dangerous for all sea crafts. People are evacuated. The eye of the typhoon is passing by the area. Appropriate response from disaster preparedness and response agencies are fully responding to rescue needs. Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal Number 5. This indicates the presence of a super typhoon in the country. There may be widespread damage. The criteria for this signal are as follows. Wind speed greater than 220 km per hour may be expected in at least 12 hours. Wavelength greater than 14 meters. Damage to structure, widespread and total damage for low-risk structures. Very heavy damage for medium-risk structures. Heavy damage for high-risk structures. Precautionary measures. Extremely destructive and catastrophic to the community. Sea and coastal waters are very dangerous for all sea crafts. All activities are suspended until further notice. These signals serve as a standard guide for everyone in the Philippines whenever there are tropical typhoons present. Extreme caution and precautionary measures must be observed during this time of adversity. Now, in terms of risks, hazards, vulnerability, tropical cyclones are associated with a number of hazards that can result in huge loss of life, property, and civilization. Storm surges, landslides, thunderstorms, tornadoes, and floods are examples of a natural hydrometeorological hazard. While according to the World Health Organization and the World Meteorological Organization, tropical cyclones are among the most destructive meteorological occurrences and the greatest hazard to life and property. As a result, it has the potential to affect almost every area of our life. If we are attacked by a tropical cyclone, a number of things could be jeopardized. Infrastructures, facilities, properties, people, and public services are at risk. Lastly, people living in coastal areas, lowlands or low-lying areas, poorly designed infrastructures, communities with no disaster preparedness plan, and poor communities are all vulnerable factors during a tropical storm. Now, did you know that the Philippines is situated within the reach of the typhoon belt? The country is visited by about 20 tropical cyclones or typhoons annually. Actually, the strongest typhoon that ever hit the Philippines was a super typhoon Yolanda, or also known as Haiyan, back in 2013. This caused over 6,000 casualties that sent 1,800 people missing and left a catastrophe with damages amounting to an estimated $5.8 billion, to which disrupted the livelihood of almost 6 million Filipinos. Lastly, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority, from the year 2010 up to 2019, the sum of all damages incurred by natural events is around 463 billion pesos. Surprising, right? Now, here are clips of some of the known tropical cyclone disasters in the Philippines.
Yolanda ang Eastern Visayas na sumubok sa katatagan ng mga residente at ng sambayanang Pilipino.
Sa mga piraso ng yero ng kanilang bubong, isinugal ng mga taong ito ang kanilang buhay habang tinatangay sila ng rumaragas ang ilog ng San Mateo. Pero paglampas sa tulay, wala na ang mga naktuntong sa bubong.
Moreover, exposure to tropical cyclones are highly linked to the communicable diseases as it is rampant due to flooding. Because of the great amount of water from floods, waterborne diseases like cholera, typhoid fever, hepatitis A, and leptospirosis are increasingly common among those within the area of the typhoon. Not to mention, people are also steadily exposed to vector-borne diseases like malaria and dengue during these times. Now that we have a grasp of what tropical cyclones are and how they are formed, as well as the warning signals to keep in mind, it is equally important to know what to do when our community gets hit by a typhoon. There are several precautions and safety measures that must be done before, during, and after a typhoon. Before a typhoon, these are the things you need to take note of. First, arrange a family emergency plan and an emergency kit with medical supplies. Second, prepare an adequate supply of materials, such as food, potable water, extra clothes, and other needed supplies. Third, have flashlights, batteries, radios, and candles on standby in case of a power interruption. Fourth, turn off your power through the main breaker before the water rises to avoid power surges when electricity is out. During a typhoon, do not panic and keep calm to mind all of the following. First, if you have a pet, remove them from their leash to avoid getting trapped. Make sure that they are secure and within your sight. Second, always read or listen to news or updates. Be in contact with your barangay for further announcement of water levels and evacuation orders. Third, if unable to evacuate, close all windows and doors. Stay indoors and avoid going out of your household to prevent further accidents. After a typhoon, it is mostly important to secure the safety of each family member. But do not forget to first, stay away from flood water as it may contain bacterial diseases and may possibly electrocute if there are fallen electricity posts. Second, wear safe footwear to avoid getting pricked by pointed objects. Third, check electricity for exposed wiring. Do not immediately use your appliances until it is safe to do so. Fourth, check for damages in the household and make necessary repairs. And lastly, clean and disinfect your home. In case of emergencies, here is a list of numbers that you may call. Before we wrap up, there are a few more interventions that may be done to help communities avoid more damage from a deadly typhoon. First is by ensuring proper drainage in which sewers, gutters, rain pipes, and the like are all clean and free from leaves, dirt, and plastic waste which may cause blockage and greater flooding. Second is by moderating storage dams and flood control. The plan here is to sustain a relatively low reservoir level amidst the rainy season. By doing this, the storage dam will be able to soak up and withstand the flood peaks. With that being said, additional green-gray infrastructures like dams, flood walls, wetlands, vegetation shields, sediment traps, and diversion channels can all aid in the management of flash floods in the event of a typhoon. Lastly, on the topic of recovery and rehabilitation after a tropical cyclone, there are many recovery plans that can be done for different sectors of the country. For livelihood and business development, the goal is to create efficient employment and livelihood activities, enhance access to financial services for families, and promote industries in order to establish a competent market presence for products and services to affected regions. Another plan of recovery is to dispense sufficient physical and mental health support in order to recover the usual functioning of the masses. Furthermore, for destroyed homes, an in-depth housing program that covers emergency shelter aid to provisions of permanent housing will be adopted. This does not only cover housing, but also provisions for establishing newly developed resettlement communities. While for coastal areas dependent on fisheries, the aim is to create a reliable source of income and food as soon as possible. Well, this wraps up today's video. I hope you learned something. Thank you for listening and see you again next time. Bye!